Hello, this is Heather of Shutterbug 101. Today we will be talking about the Nikon D3500 with its 18 to 55 kit lens, aperture 3.5 to 5.6. This 24 megapixel camera is crop sensor and lightweight. Not to mention the smallest of the current Nikon line of interchangeable lens cameras. This camera is perfect for beginners and hobbyists that need a travel-friendly option that is easy to use. The D3500 was announced spring of 2018, making it the current model in the D3000 series. Although there hasn't been many mind-blowing changes from the D3000 to our current D3500, the biggest upgrades to date are the megapixel availability. The battery life has extended to approximately 1,550 pictures taken per battery charge, and it is the lightest in the series, weighing at only 365 grams. As for our walkthrough today, we will be focused on the D3500. However, if you have an older model, you may find it is fairly similar layout, so this could still be of some help to you in navigating your camera. This walkthrough will assist you in learning all the buttons, doors, and menus, what they do, and how they will help you in your photographic journey. So, again, this is going to be the Nikon D3500. It's going to be very similar layout of the whole 3000 series. Buttons may be in a little different placement than previous models, so just keep that in mind when going over this camera. We'll start with the front here. This big button here is going to be for removing the lens. You're just going to turn the lens over this way so the white dots match up. Take it off. To turn it back on, there is going to be a little white dot on the lens there, which you will line up with the white dot on the camera. Turn and click for it to lock on. Going to one side of the camera, this of course is where you're going to keep your SD card at. It does show you a little bit of a picture there of the card. It's a little difficult to see here because it is so small, but does show which direction to put the card in if you look very closely. On the other side of the camera here, we do have a little door here where it holds our HDMI input cable, where we will be able to show our pictures on TV to show to friends and family. There is also a USB cable here. This is going to be for transferring images to your computer, updating firmware in the camera itself, if that does need to be done. Going to the top of the camera here. Of course, we have some of our most important switches here. You have your on and off switch here, which is just simple flick of the switch. This, of course, is going to be your shutter release button, where you're going to push halfway down to focus and all the way down to take the picture. This is going to be your exposure button, where you'll be able to over or underexpose accordingly. If you feel that your scene needs to be a little bit brighter or darker, without having to change any major settings. This, of course, is going to be your video record button. So all you have to do if you wanted to record any video at all, you're just going to touch to start and touch to stop when it comes to recording. When it comes to the dial here, so you're going to have your auto dial, so green for go if you just want to go off, shoot, don't want to have to worry about any settings. You're giving the camera full control at that point. Your guided menu is going to allow you to give you some guides here. So it has a shoot guide, view and deleting, so it kind of has a built-in tutorial in the camera itself, which is nice. Going into our manual modes here, you'll see that they're bracketed off because you're going to have more control over these modes. Program mode, of course, is going to be your first step off of auto. This is going to allow you to change certain settings like aperture or shutter speed, your autofocus settings, your metering settings, all of those. But as soon as you change it to P, It's going to automatically determine the settings as if it were in auto. So it'll give you a recommendation and then you can move from there. The S mode, of course, is going to be a shutter priority, how fast you want it to take the photo, and then it will compensate for the aperture itself. Aperture mode, which is going to compensate for shutter speed. You control the opening in the lens. That will control how much light is let in. The M mode is going to be full manual. I don't recommend jumping to full manual right away, especially if you're an auto shooter. This takes time just to get used to your P, A, and S mode. So I wouldn't rush into the manual mode just yet. And if you get overwhelmed with any of these, there's no shame in jumping back to auto if you need to get a very special moment captured, if you just want to get the picture taken that you're viewing, that sort of thing. So on your effects portion on your dial, when you turn it to your screen here and you use your adjustment knob, this is what you're going to use to change aperture, change shutter speed, and in the effects setting, it's going to allow you to change the actual effects. So when we scroll here, it'll give you, pop, vivid color, night vision, photo illustration, toy camera, miniature effect, a selective color, which is really neat, which you can select one color and make the rest black and white. Silhouette, so if you want it to be backlit. Also high key and low key. So just different sort of effects that you can give to your pictures. This is before you take the photo. This is very important to know. And then you would see how it is after you take the shot. The effects portion of the dial will help you when you're feeling a little bored, you have some free time, you just want to play around, see what it can get you, and it can be a lot of fun to play with. All right, so here are going to be our auto presets after the effects dial. That's going to be our night portraits. That's going to be for macros, the little flower. The little running person is going to be for sports. The person is, of course, going to be for portraits, and then, of course, you have your no flash option. Again, these I would count into the same way you would do effects, is don't solely depend on these, but play around with it and see what effect it will give your photo. I would just go off of auto or P mode if you're just getting started, because those are going to give you a little bit more control over that aspect, because the whole reason we picked up a camera was because we were told we had an eye for photography, so why let the camera make all of your decisions on what you are seeing? Definitely take a little bit more control in your photography by just moving to that P mode. Okay, but again, these aren't wrong to use, just don't make them your crutch. So this LV here on the switch, when you switch it stands for live view, so when you turn that on, you can see that it is in live view mode. You can see on the back of what's coming through the lens. This can be very, very helpful in situations where you may want to see the bigger picture. You don't want to hold the viewfinder up directly to your eye. That sort of thing. It can also be a little bit more accurate on how your pictures are going to come out, but it's not completely accurate. So here we go. We'll go to the bottom of the camera here. So on the bottom of the camera, we can see that it does have a universal screw mount for any tripod. The little door at the bottom here is going to be our battery door. So that just flips right open. You pull the yellow tab and it pops right out. There's our battery. And then we'll go to the fanciest part of the camera, is just going to be this back screen here. Okay, so up here on top you have your flash button here. Now on your auto setting, which right now I am in, when you do go and take a picture, if it does determine that it is too dark, the flash will pop right up, okay, by itself. Now for me, that can get extremely frustrating. So if you don't want the flash to automatically pop up, I wouldn't go into the no flash mode. I would go into your P mode. That's going to give you control, so if you wanted to use your flash, you hit this button and it will pop right up. Okay. here on the side of the viewfinder. Now all of our eyes are going to be different. That's why some people wear glasses, and even those that wear glasses, they wear different strengths, they're nearsighted, farsighted, whatever it may be. This is called a diopter. So when you look through this and you tap your shutter button halfway down and it beeps saying, hey, that's in focus, but what you see through here still looks blurry, you can actually adjust this little knob here until the picture through here is in focus for you, and then that will be to your eye. So that is to keep in mind. We have our info button here, so all this does is change whether the screen is on or off. You have your auto exposure or auto focus lock. This can be programmed to where if you wanted to lock on autofocus, you could keep this button held down and recompose your shot and take the picture so it's focused to where you focused the first time, which is nice. Same for the auto exposure. If you wanted to see the sunset or someone's face, vice versa, instead of them being a silhouette, you could auto exposure lock on their face, move back, and be able to get that. But just know in that circumstance, naturally the sunset is more likely to be blown out. Now we also have our play button here, so if we had taken any pictures, naturally I don't have a memory card in here now, but this is how you would view your photos taken. You would use your directional pad to go forward or back through your photographs. Here on the back screen, this is going to be the default to what you see. This is currently all of the settings that are on there in P, and naturally these are going to be more accessible and you'll have more to change on your manual modes than if you had it set to auto. A lot of those will be grayed out. So for instance, if I did change it to auto here and we see the back screen and I wanted to go probably to our quick menu here, so it's just going to be info, that little I button. That's going to allow us to change certain settings. So here we have 4 boxes that are available. The rest of these are grayed out in auto because auto is going to take full control over that. Versus if we changed it to our P mode, we go to our little I button here, we can go through pretty much all of these. Okay, so it just gives you more control when you're on P. So we'll stay on P for the rest of this walkthrough. Of course, you have your OK button to confirm. So if we wanted to change the quality here in our quick menu, you have raw, fine, you can do raw and fine. I would never, ever, ever go to JPEG normal or JPEG basic. It's just too low of a megabyte image to be able to do anything with. So if you're going to do pictures that you just want to take and print, take it on JPEG fine. If you want to edit pictures on an Adobe program or something that accepts raw images, you would take pictures in RAW, and in especially certain circumstance where it might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, you can do RAW and JPEG at the same time. Now do keep in mind that when you do this, it takes up a lot of room on your card because RAW is 4 times larger than a JPEG image. So that's just something to keep in mind. Let's see, going else through here. We have our white balance. Now, in older cameras, we used to have to take our white balance and go, oh, I'm indoors, I have to change it to the little house, or I'm outside, so I turn it to the sun. Digital cameras these days are really good at determining what the white balance should be, so I would just keep it in auto. When it comes to active de-lighting, nothing I would really worry about there. Your flash mode, if you want it to fill flash, if you added a external flash here, you get into those settings. ISO sensitivity, okay, so you can control this aspect here. 100 is actually going to be the sharpest, but it's also going to be for days where you're in the afternoon. There's plenty of light to be had, and during the evening time you may want to go down to like 6400 because there's not enough light available, because ISO is essentially going to be your sensitivity to light. Okay, so kind of getting back into this here. Exposure compensation, now that's going to be the same as that button on top that we talked about. So just keep that in mind. Going down here. Flash compensation, again, wouldn't worry too much about that. Metering, now this is going to be where it's taking its light from. So here you have matrix metering, which is considering the entire image. You have center weighted metering, which is taking whatever is directly centered in the photo. And then you have spot metering, which will allow you to meter from one area and then recompose so you can have it offset to the side or wherever you need it to. So you can have it directly metered for the lighting shining on your direct subject. And then kind of going through here, autofocus mode. So this is going to give you like single point autofocus that you can move around, dynamic area autofocus where it's considering a larger area, 3D tracking takes 11 points. That's going to be for a lot of like action sequences, and then auto area autofocus where it's considering the entire sensor image of the area, and it'll probably determine whatever is in front first, which naturally with my own camera, you'll see that because the back of the camera is coming before my hands down here, it's actually focusing on the camera first. Now if I brought my hand up here, it's probably gonna focus on my hand, and that's kind of where your focus comes into play. So keep that in mind as well. And then of course you have your focus modes. Your focus modes are going to be AFA, AFS, AFC, and MF. Now AFA is essentially going to be autofocus auto. It's going to decide between AFS and AFC. AFS is going to be single, so that's going to be for landscapes, someone that's posed for your photo, a still subject, that sort of thing. Let's see, AFC is going to be continuous, so it's going to be for action, things that are continuously moving, things that it needs to continuously focus on as they move. And then of course your manual focus, which you will be able to usually switch on your lenses. Now currently with this kit lens, it does not have that option for any switches to turn off any autofocus or turn off any stabilization. So this is just a very, very basic lens here. And that pretty much sums up the quick menu. Now you can change certain windows on these. So say you were like, well, I don't ever plan on really shooting with flash, at least not right now. You can actually go in through your menu and choose your custom options to kind of change them out. Now kind of going down here, we have two magnifying glasses. This is going to be a zoom and kind of zooming back. This is going to allow you, when you're on your play button, to zoom into photos to see how well it's focused. This can be helpful in certain circumstances where you go, I think I got that shot. You can go back and play, zoom in there, see if you got the detail. If not, you can take the picture again. Here, of course, is going to be our drive mode. So you have your single frame mode when it comes to the drive mode, which just takes a single photo if you click and hold your shutter button down. Your continuous mode, which when you click and hold your shutter button down, will take multiple photos. A quiet shutter release, so it doesn't make it completely silent, but for those times where you don't want that super loud clack clack of the mirror, it does quiet it a little bit, but not by much. And then of course you have your self timer, which you can use with a remote control with this camera. So we'll go back here, we'll set it to single for now. And then of course we have our trash can button. So in those circumstances where you are in your play mode, you want to delete a picture that you didn't like, you just hit that button and you select yes or no. Now getting into our menu here, we'll go ahead and we will start with, let's see, we'll start with our play menu. So here up at the top, you can delete photos, you can have display, playback display options, where you can have histograms or anything like that. I think it complicates it. I just want to be able to see my picture when it comes up, so it's nothing I would really worry about. Click menu to go back. If we continue to go down here. Right now, auto image rotation is on, so if I take a picture like this, it's automatically going to rotate it for me, which is nice. Rotate tall, that's fine. That's kind of the end of the playback menu. You can also, this camera does have the ability to send over Wi-Fi. So on your cell phone, if you downloaded the SnapBridge app, you are able to download pictures that you took off the camera to your cell phone and share on social media and share with friends and family. This can be extremely helpful if you're on vacation. You don't want to wait to share until you get home. And if we go down into our shooting menu here, we will go over up at the top. So you can reset your shooting menu to factory settings if that is what you want to do. Here's also where you can change your image quality, where we were talking about RAW and JPEG earlier. Your ISO sensitivity settings. So what you can do is you can actually pick this and set it to its sensitivity. So you can set it to 100, put it down, and you can set its maximum sensitivity. So when you are in auto mode, if you don't want it to go past a certain number of sensitivity, because at certain numbers you're going to see noise or muddiness in your shadows and colors, 3200 I want to say is a pretty safe bet on this camera. So that's actually where you're going to be fairly safe on that. Again, you can change white balance through the menu. Let's see, picture control. You know, some of these really you're never going to play with. So that's why I'm kind of skipping over some of these. Noise reduction, it's always nice to have on. Let's see. You change your focus modes, autofocus modes, just like we could with the I button here. So that's fine. Let's see, your metering. And you also have like movie settings as well, like when it comes to quality. Then we kind of go into our setup menu. You can reset setup options in case the camera's doing something funny. You thought maybe you changed something on accident. That would be your first step, is to reset any settings. Format memory card. This is something that I stress to a lot of my customers that come into my workplace, is a lot of people don't know what formatting is. When you go on a vacation, you've taken a bunch of pictures with your SD card, you go through, you save them to your computer, make sure they're saved. I cannot stress that enough. That way you can make sure they're backed up just fine. When you're all done, put it back in your camera and you're ready to start over. You want to select Format Memory Card on that setup menu with a wrench. The reason you want to do that, instead of just deleting it with the trash can, is because even though you can't see it, when you just delete it with the trash can, it will make the file not visible anymore, but it'll throw it into kind of like an invisible trash can, and that trash can kind of fill up and overflow. So at that point, you start having problems with your memory card. So it'll start eating away images, it'll start corrupting, that sort of thing. Now, it's not necessary to, format your memory card after every single time you use it. But just make it a habit that anytime you back up images to your computer, unless you're going to put away the SD card and not reuse it, definitely format the card. That way you don't have any problems down the road. You can put a date stamp on your photos if that's something that you want to do. You can adjust time zone and date, the language if you really wanted to challenge yourself, which I don't recommend. Your monitor brightness in case it's not bright enough in those really sunny days. You can change your different info displays. Self timer. Now you can lock up the mirror for cleaning inside. Now this is not something that I would do on your own, especially with this camera. If it's something that it's your first camera and you're like, oh, maybe I should clean it out. Don't do it. I don't advise you to do that. Don't even look up a YouTube video to do it, because behind that mirror is a sensor, which is essentially the heart of your camera. So if anything happens to that, the camera's gone. It's just better off taking it to your local camera store, having them check it, see if it needs to be cleaned, because unless it needs to be, you don't want to clean the inside, and then let them handle that for you, or at least give you some tips. So you can put comments on images. You can add copyright information. You can change the beep for when you focus with the shutter button. You can make it loud, or you can silence it completely. flicker reduction for video for those incandescent lights. You can program certain buttons. Let's see, file number sequence. If you wanted it to be in a certain sequence of numbers, you can customize that. File naming, that's just essentially that when you open up your files in your computer from your card, they're all going to start with DSC. That's just very standard for Nikon. If you want to change that, you can. HDMI, like we were talking about the port on this side earlier, connecting the HDMI to either a computer screen or a television screen to show. Location date, airplane mode here. Now what airplane mode can do is, because this camera has the ability to send off a Wi-Fi signal, if you are traveling with it in an airplane, you want to make sure that you turn the airplane mode on. Not only does that follow the rules on your flight, but that will also help save your battery as well, because what it can do is when you have your airplane mode off, it can continually work with a Wi-Fi signal. So then that can run out your battery quite a bit. Again, you can connect to a smart device from this menu as well. Bluetooth, you can transfer the same way. Let's see. So slot empty release lock. What this allows you to do is, if you had it on, or if you had it unlocked, I should say, it'll actually allow you to take pictures without a card. I don't necessarily like to do that, because if I go out and I'm taking pictures and I go, oh, okay, let me see how those pictures came out. I go and I press my play button and it goes, sorry, there's no memory card in here. I end up very disappointed in the fact that I'm like, oh, I just took all these pictures, I didn't even have a memory card in there. So at least when you have this locked, what it tells you is, hey, sorry, I don't have a memory card. And you go, oh yeah, let me get one of those. So at least you won't be disappointed in that aspect. Here you can reset all settings rather than just the setup, certain menus. Here you can check your firmware version, see if it needs to be updated. After the setup menu, that's pretty much it. There are a couple more options here where if you go down, there is the retouching menu where you can do edits to your photos after you are all done. Through here, you should be able, I can't access it right now because I don't have any pictures. You can do red eye correction, you can straighten your photo, do distortion control, you can crop in, you can even make your colors a little bit more vivid. You can completely edit right inside the camera. Now, for some people, they really enjoy doing this. For me, I'd rather edit on my computer screen because I can see a little bit more of the details. But that's all up to you. There's no wrong way to do it. And then, of course, at the very bottom, there's your recent settings. So anything that you had changed recently, gone and checked out, it's actually going to be in your recent settings menu. Other than that, that pretty much sums up the Nikon D3500. If you guys have any questions on this camera, feel free to let me know. Any requests for certain camera bodies for me to go through a walkover through, or certain things you would like me to teach on a video, please comment below on what you think I should do next. Keep your eye open for inspiration, Shutterbugs, and we'll see you next time. Bye.